Welcome, fans, to episode 114 of Rangers Ed, presented by Lucarelli Law. If you're in Florida and need a lawyer, call Lucarelli Law and tell them the boys at Rangers Ed sent you. This is your host, Cousin Ed. I'm here with both my co-hosts and our producer, Mikey Produces. What's up, Mikey? Toss it to you first. I never do, so I'll throw it over to you.
I like that. It feels good. It put a little smile on my face.
Yeah, gotta give you a little credit here and there, you know.
Doing well, man. The boys in blue are buzzing, so it's going to be a great episode to talk some Rangers hockey.
Yeah, it's been a nice little stretch for the Rangers, so I'm pumped for this one. And we got Little Ed over there. What's up, Little Ed? Fresh off your little Stony Brook run.
Yeah, what's up, fellas? Coach and I had a nice little eventful weekend. Gonna let Coach explain it from here, but before we do that, we're just gonna do a quick little special Coach's Corner for y'all.
You guys fucking worked your heart out all season, and you guys earned it. Like I said, you listened. We worked hard. We got one more to go, and next week, let's go.
All right. And, you know, these awards are nominated by coaches, voted on by coaches, and Coach was a unanimous selection for Coach of the Year.
You guys got to try to make me cry. You got to try to make me cry every episode. What's going on?
So
we gotta show the fans that you have a soul. You know, like it's not all hardness. There's soft in there.
So yeah, the head of the league that you all just saw right there, John LaRochester, came over to us after our semifinal win and asked if he could make two quick announcements in the locker room, and one being Coach Ed winning the Rempire Collegiate Hockey Conference Coach of the Year. So congrats to Coach Ed. And it's a big award and a big honor to get. So
yeah, it took me 40 years to be recognized, but it was worth it.
Dude, no, man, you deserve it, man. You worked your ass off for Stony Brook. You guys built that program up and put a lot of effort into it. It's amazing. You deserve it.
It's like I said after the fact. It's definitely a combination of, you know, you always talk about when Messier, when they won the cup, how he made it like, you know, he took care of the trainers, he took care of the equipment guys, like almost down to the janitor. And that's what it's about. I mean, we had a lot of people involved getting new players for the team. And, you know, I mainly just do the coaching, and, you know, Eddie helps with the apparel. Coach Mike helps with the video sessions. He edits stuff every week, and it just makes the whole program better. So it was definitely a combined award.
No, listen, that's the point. But because you have all those people there, you're able to focus on the coaching, right? And
yeah,
you earn it's your award, Coach. Congrats. So tell me about the weekend.
We're gonna have to make some room behind the wall, bind you on the wall for your plaque.
Put it next to the wiffle ball plaque.
and this plaque. This is my original award. This is my award I got. I don't know if you guys could see that.
That is awesome.
Coach Ed, yes, guys, head over to YouTube.
First place broken water bottle award.
I'll put it next to this plaque. The 1 year I was
before Coach Ed softened up, he was known for punting water bottles across the bench when we were younger. So
that is hilarious.
He doesn't do that anymore. He lets me get riled up on the bench now.
The one parent who was in charge of the water bottles, he goes, "Coach, we're running out of water bottles."
Yeah, but where's the wiffle ball one? You still have that?
The wiffle ball is up on the shelf over here.
This is back before Little Ed's workshop existed. Little Ed was, you know, into like crafting and stuff, and one of his first creations, he made a little plaque for first ever recorded triple play in backyard wiffle ball.
Yeah, send that one over to Mike Kelly. Send that one over to Mike Kelly. Coach just disappeared to go get it. There it is.
God.
The wiffle ball in the little shadow box.
I can't do it.
Unbelievable.
So, Coach, take us through the weekend.
Well, it was you know, on the way there, you know, for the last week, you know, obviously, like I keep saying, I've been coaching a long time at various levels. This is the highest level, and it was like a weird feeling to be like the most important weekend that I've coached in a long time, and the pressure and talk about butterflies before every game and stuff. And
Well,
for
where
2
was it?
games,
Was it like a
boy,
tournament? Was
it's
it
a
like
tournament, but there was a 8-team playoff. We were ranked first. We played the 8th team. We took care of business. Columbia had a player who beat Fairfield 7-3 or 4, and he had 3 goals and 4 assists in that game. We played him the next night. We shut him down, no points, and he got ejected for a spearing penalty. Very frustrated.
Early in the third
So that was
period, or
very exciting.
late in the
So yeah,
second,
we
or
won
early in the third. Either way,
early in the third, midway in the third, sometimes. So it was very fulfilling weekend. We won 2 games 5-1. Unfortunately, we couldn't finish it off in the finals. We lost 2-1, let up 2 power play goals, but we fought hard. I mean, in 3 games, we let up 4 goals, so I think we did a pretty good job. The boys did a very good job. Just came out a little flat and couldn't catch up.
So how does it work now? Are you still in national contention, or was that was for the
It's a
playoffs to
whole
qualify? Or
No, it's a separate entity. We got the national bid a week and a half ago. That's automatic. This is just the league playoffs.
awesome.
I'll tell you one thing: the announcers on Long Island Sports Network, they were streaming it live on YouTube. They just kept praising the Stony Brook staff and the coaching, and just saying how well, last year you guys were 3-13 or whatever your record was, and now going to first in the league. They were talking about you jumping up to D2, that you guys should be in D2 and stuff like that. So it was awesome watching and listening.
Well, we did. It was amazing that that's even available. It just blows my mind. I think it's cool as hell that you guys were able to watch it. And but we did beat a lot of D2 teams this year, and this playoffs was D2 level. It wasn't just D3.
Sacred Heart was a D2 team technically,
Yeah,
and they beat us
yeah.
in the finals. So it's a little bit of a
The
complicated
National-
situation.
Yeah, the Nationals are all D3 teams.
Correct.
And one of the things that also was phenomenal when the guy La Rochester came in the locker room and he gave us the award, and he's very proud of it. He runs the Empire Conference, so he says, guys, represent us well, go down there and kick their ass. So he wants to get a winner out of our conference for the Nationals, and he goes, all I know is a lot of teams are asking questions about Stony Brook around the country. No one knows us. No one knows our players, how we got this level, and so on. So it was pretty cool. Like, they're asking questions. No one has seen us other than our conference. We didn't play any out of region games, so it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, also a quick shout out to our goalie, Gene Castro, for making the first team all conference, and also the goalie of the year for the all conference. So yeah, 2 awards going to Stony Brook, coach of the year and goalie of the year. So yeah, without those 2, without a doubt, we wouldn't have had our season. And also, yeah, Mike already mentioned it, but shout out to Mike Brown over at Long Island Sports Network. Phenomenal job. The announcers, knowing everybody's name, having the stats and all that good stuff, and just, I don't know, instant replays almost immediately in between periods, replays and stuff like that. It was just so well done. So it's a great thing of what he's doing Long Island high school games and trying to, I guess, graduate high school players to local college teams. And yeah, he said that we have the best uniforms in the AAU conference, or in the AAU league, I guess. And he's really pulling for us to go make some noise down at nationals, and he's hearing a lot of buzz around the high schools around Long Island that they want to go to Stony Brook. So hopefully this is definitely putting us on the map, without a doubt.
Sounds like you guys did a phenomenal job. So, Little Ed, what was your experience like? I know you didn't win Coach of the Year, Coach Ed did, but you're a coach on that staff. So, what was the experience like doing that? I mean, that's got to be a big thrill for you guys. Just generally being in a playoff match, being broadcasted on YouTube. It's pretty cool. What was it like?
It was great, man. I mean, Coach Ed said, it's been a while since we've coached meaningful games. I mean, since we coached Chaminade, we've gone through a lot of years of like developing kids, coaching the second team, like the junior or the C team or whatever you want to call it, tier 3 now it's called. So we've had a lot of years of kind of just developing, making like, I guess we'll call them lesser players better. And obviously the Stony Brook, we won 0 games our first year, 3 games the next year. So like to go back, I guess like to our Chaminade days and coaching in championship games and semifinal games. I mean, Coach had said it best. It's you just get those butterflies right before the game. I was really confident in our team. I mean, I knew we were definitely, I didn't want to say definitely make it to the finals, but we had a very good chance and a good road to make it to the finals. So the first 2 games, I was definitely very confident, and it definitely showed. We won those games 5-1. And obviously the championship game can go to either team. It's in any given Sunday, we'll call it, because it wasn't a Sunday, but it was a hockey game, not a football game. So yeah, I mean, like any team could come out and play, and Sacred Heart played their asses off. And I mean, we fought hard, and like Coach had said, it was 2 power play goals. And I just want to say that I'm very proud of my defense, our defensive core. They all have come together so well. Like I said, like 2 years ago, we had 3 defensemen, 4 defensemen, if we were lucky, coming to games. Last year, the same thing, 3, 4, 5 showing up. This year, everyone really bought into the message that Coach Ed and I and Coach Mike Scancarello were trying to preach, his commitment and coming to practice, coming to the film sessions. And all the defensemen really bought in, led by Brendan Devaney, Nick Barker, Antonio Arena. I'll just name them all, Jake Lee, Nick Mango, and Andrew Muscheni. I mean, they just played phenomenally. Like Coach Ed said, we shut that kid down. It was definitely a team effort, but the defensemen prepared well, listened to what we were trying to tell them to do, how to play that kid, and they shut him down to 0 points. And like I said, I can't be more proud than some of these kids coming into the program, not expecting to get to the level that they're at, and here we are. So I hope you guys are listening, and like I said, I'm very proud of you all, and I hope we make some noise at nationals. You guys continue to come together as the unit, because it was amazing to watch.
Yeah, it was
So
fun.
when is the Nationals? That's coming up soon, right?
Yeah, that'll be in 2 weeks. We go over to Westchester, Pennsylvania. It'll be the March 9th to the 13th. And if all goes well, we'll be away for 5 days. And we'll be playing 5 college hockey games in 5 days. So
Yeah, so listen, if that happens, fans, you might be without Coach Ed and Little Ed for an episode. So, I'll hold the fort down with Mikey as best I can if that happens. But we're all looking forward to that. I'm pulling for Stony Brook. All right, boys. Let's congrats again, by the way, to Coach Ed. I just gotta say, I'm really proud of you, and I know you work hard coaching, and it's nice to see you get recognized from an objective entity and not just from us on the podcast. I think it's awesome.
It was special.
Really
yeah,
proud of you.
a lot of late nights for Coach on the ice, getting taken out by his players because he decides to forecheck and put pressure on to
Look at that elbow.
Yeah, put that away. I don't think we want to see that. No, but seriously, he puts everything he has into this. He loves all of his kids, even though some of you might not think so if you're listening. But he loves each and every one of you, and he really cares about all you guys. So I think we can keep making some noise. So let's do it.
Yeah, and it just goes to show you guys listening to this podcast. Even if you're a men's league player or you don't even play and you're just learning the game, make sure you check out Coach's Corner, because we got one of the best collegiate coaches in New York on this podcast. Explaining X's and O's, to you. So check him out on YouTube. It's going to be more of a YouTube exclusive as we go forward. So make sure you go on there and hit like, subscribe, so you get the updated episodes, and watch Coach's Corner, and just, you get an inside preview into what his players get to learn, and you guys get to learn it also. So make sure you check that out. But all right, let's go to the Jersey Profiles, sponsored by Oscar's Pro Stitch Hockey.
Hey, Ranger fans, the season is winding down fast, and the Rangers are preparing for the playoffs. Are you ready for the playoffs? Get ready for your next trip to the Garden with a new Ranger jersey customized by Oscar's Pro Stitch Hockey. Don't settle for any imitations. Pick your jersey from any era, send it to Oscar for professional, hand-stitched, official NHL kits. Get your favorite throwback Rangers jersey, all-star jersey, or retro ready for postseason. Even the Stadium Series kits are in. So get in contact with Oscar on Instagram at Oscars PSH and wear it proud. Let's go, Rangers.
New ad from Coach Ed. I love that. Guys, check out Oscar at Oscar's PSH on Instagram. Contact him. He'll hook you up with a sick jersey. We all each have multiple jerseys from Oscar, and they're just, I get so many compliments every time I wear them. Everywhere I go, it's it looks really good.
That
comes out
freaking
great.
Trocheck Stadium Series jersey was very cool.
Yeah, I got to mail my Stadium Series to him. I still haven't decided or gotten approval from Little Ed on who I'm going to put on the jersey. I'm debating. I'm pretty sure if I said Keandre that you'd permit it. So I'm debating.
Who are your choices?
Me and Oscar had a phone call the other day, and he said that as long as you get rid of all of your Chinese knockoffs, except for the one that your dad got you, he said you're allowed to keep that one, and I agree. But if you get rid of all the others, that wipes that he thinks that'll wipe the juju away. So
that's like all my jerseys.
I know. I don't know what we can do. We'll come up with something creative, not get rid of them, but we'll come up with something creative, and I think that might clear the juju.
Maybe if you put him in storage, we'll lock it up like Al Capone's safe.
Yeah. Maybe we'll like freeze them, like cryogenically freeze them or something.
We got to think of something. I'm down for it. It'll be good content too. One year when the Mets lost to the Marlins in the last game and missed the playoffs, Tom Glavine pitched. He gave up like 8 runs in the first inning. I took my Glavine T-shirt, Mets T-shirt, and I threw it in a campfire at my friend's lake house, at Carl's Lake House in Connecticut, his parents. and we filmed the whole thing. It was like a seance for the Mets. It didn't work, but there's something we can do. There's something we can do.
What'd you do? Get the ashes? You were trying to glue it back together. It didn't work. It didn't work.
Oh man, that's actually a really funny story. But anyway, another time.
That is funny.
Episode 114, jersey number 14. A lot of choices. A lot of players have worn 14 for the Rangers. Not many for a very long time. So we did a combo. Theo Fleury and Brendan Shanahan, two NHL greats, each played a very short stint with the Rangers. Shanahan, 140 games. He had 52 goals and 56 assists in those 140 games, and his career was winding down. And Theo Fleury, of course, best known with the Rangers for giving Islanders fans the finger in Nassau Coliseum. Played 224 games with the Rangers, 69 goals, 132 assists. Two of the best to ever play. I mean, Theo Fleury is an interesting one. He was a big free agent signing when the Rangers signed him. But Coach, he's not in the Hall of Fame, right?
I don't think he is.
He's got to be.
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
He's on the ballot every year, I believe, but I'm almost positive he's not in. I would have put it on.
He's. I was taking a look at him. He's got to be borderline. I mean, 1,000 points, 455 career goals. He played 15 years in the league. He won a Stanley Cup.
Oh, he did? I was going to ask that. Did he win with Calgary?
He won a Stanley Cup with Calgary in '89. And
I think his off-ice antics just get in his way a little bit. I think a true hockey fan wants him in the Hall of Fame, but I think, just all the shit that he went through.
Well, I'm just gonna say what my dad used to say. Judge the guys by their play on the ice or on the field.
No, definitely.
When you're talking about the Hall of Fame. I mean, Lawrence Taylor's in the Hall of Fame, right? So anybody should be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, look, off-ice stuff I don't condone or as a podcast especially, we're not condoning or approving anybody's conduct. I don't know what he did or is accused of or whatever. But on the ice, he was a great player. He's got to be borderline. Anyway. We'll see. Something to keep an eye on. Shanahan.
I feel like every year around the induction time, he's always talked about, there's always a debate about him. Because he also revolutionized, not revolutionized, but showed smaller players that they were able to play. I mean, St. Louis, I think, talks about how he kind of inspired him and, it kind of gave that, or I don't know, paved the way for smaller players, small, fast players. And a player like Theo Fleury on the Rangers right now would be perfect. Speaking of heading into the trade deadline. So
seriously, 5'6", Theo Fleury. A hell of a career.
Crazy. That's crazy.
5'6". My sister's 5'6". I mean, that's not very big. So
an iconic moment in Fleury's. Me and my college buddies always send it whenever it's floating around Instagram of him scoring a game-winning goal with Calgary and sliding across the entire ice on his knees. You know that clip? Yeah, that's a funny one.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, and
5'6" is
Shanahan was
probably
awesome.
generous. It's probably generous too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
maybe
is.
on skates. And little known
Shanahan
fact, he
was
started a
awesome.
concrete company after he retired. Coach.
Deal?
Wow.
Yeah, in Calgary.
Wow.
Mhm.
About Shanahan, though, I was saying Shanahan was awesome, even at that point in his career to have him on the Rangers. Little Ed, I remember when they got Shanahan because 14 is your number, so I debated doing a Little
Yep.
Ed jersey profile instead. And I was what I would have liked to have done is make a little picture on the graphic there of you like squatting in baseball, like catching. I think that would have been fun.
Well, I actually messaged my college coach's wife on Instagram to see if he still has the spreadsheet of all of our stats. Because anything that I found online, it didn't seem like my games played were way too low and stuff. So I feel like it was only like certain league games and stuff. So I know for
your
a fact
OBP, your
no, I'm
OBP
talking
was
about
about
I'm
7
talking
points.
about no, I'm talking about hockey in college.
No, I'm messing with you.
Oh, but yeah, Coach Ed had my baseball stats for sure, and Poppy all the time. So maybe we can dig up some of that.
Tell
stuff.
the fans 14 because look, 14 isn't a very common number. I don't think I know anyone else that would choose 14. So like, how did you end up choosing that, and like why 14? I mean, you've worn it your whole career. I didn't. I wore different numbers whenever I played, but
yeah, my whole life I wore both sports, baseball and hockey. I mean, I guess one of my first memories is when my dad signed me up. Coach had signed me up for Baldwin roller hockey, and I remember I signed up late, or I was last pick probably, or some bullshit. And I remember there only being 2 jerseys left, and one of them was 14. And Coach told me to pick that because he wore that at one point too. And Coach's birthday is 9/14/63, so not necessarily for his birthday or anything, but that was the story that I remember. Coach, can you confirm that?
Yeah, I think I had one in roller hockey in my youth too, and
Baldwin roller hockey, was that different than Stallions? Was Oceanside, right? Was that
Yeah,
Yeah,
Stallions?
it was Baldwin's version of the Stallions, I guess.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Baldwin
Awesome.
Park instead of Oceanside Park. So yeah, I guess that was my first number, really my only option, and I just stuck with it my whole life. And
See,
I
what
still
happened
wear
to
it in men's
me,
league and stuff like that.
what happened to me when I was little, I liked number 9, which is one of the most popular numbers. So then when I would start making travel teams, etc., 9 was already gone.
Always
The
taken, yeah.
coach's son or whatever is like, I had no chance to get 9. So then I ended up having to pick different numbers. So I wore 6, I wore 19 because
That happened
19
to
had
Gretzky
9 in it.
too.
That happened to
9 was
Gretzky.
taken.
Oh, see, me and Gretzky are the same. You know, I've been saying me and Gretzky are the same for a while, and there you go. There's the connection. But all right, we got a lot to cover, so let's jump right into the breakdown here. So prior to the last episode, and the last episode being prior to the Stadium Series, the Rangers were 33-16-3. They went 6-1-0. Since then, they are now 39-17-3, 81 points, first in the Metro, second in the NHL. And we're going way back here. A 2-0 shutout over Calgary, Shesterkin's first shutout of the year, a 7-4 win over Montreal. Jonathan Quick gets the win in that one. And then the Stadium Series, which we recap for you. Igor beats Sorokin 6-5 in overtime. Panarin aborted that goal in overtime after the review. 3-1 over Dallas. Stanley Cup contender. Shesterkin hot in that one. 41 saves and 39 saves against New Jersey. A 5-1 victory. Another 39 saves against Philly. A 2-1 win. And then Sunday, a loss to Columbus in Columbus. 3 games in 4 nights after a 10-game win streak. The Rangers finally lose. Jonathan Quick goes down, 37 saves in defeat, 4-2. So let's, there's a lot to cover. Let's jump right into, let's start right with the back we're going to start with Matt Rempe. That's where we're going to start, right? Because that's what everybody is talking about. That's the name of the episode. Let's start with this kid. I mean, 6'7", 6th-round pick, 21 years old. He debuts in the Stadium Series. First shift, he fights Matt Martin. Then he runs over Nathan Bastian in New Jersey, runs him over, gets a match penalty. Next game, fights Nicolas Delorier. One of the best fights I've ever seen, like just as a fan. And then Matthew Olivier in Columbus. Game-winning goal. I mean, I'm going to go to Mikey. This is a Mike question. Tell me about, like, is Matt Rempe is this attention warranted? Right? Like, is this warranted? Like, we're talking about a fourth line, borderline NHL prospect who is establishing himself here. Is this warranted?
He is definitely warranted, man. I mean, he's doing everything that he needs to be doing. I mean, take away the fights and stuff like that. I think on the ice, he's a presence. He's a body out there. He still has a lot to learn, but he parks himself in front of the net. He's hard to move. I think that's all going to come with time. I think we might have found a gem in the 6th round. Hopefully, if they keep him and develop him the right way, I mean, this kid could be a problem.
Big time problem. Yeah, I'm hoping they plan to do that. Little Ed, I mean, Matt Rempe, I don't know. I'm gonna let you decide where you want to go with this. Like, everyone's talking about it. Everyone, not just Rangers fans. I mean, this kid has made his presence known league wide.
Yeah, my favorite part about this was his interview. I forget who it was with. Was it Emily Kaplan or Gingers?
Emily, yeah. It was Emily.
Yeah, where he was just like, I'm just having a ton of fun doing it. Like, he's just having a ton of fun beating the hell out of people. It's just crazy. Like, he's just enjoying every second of it. You could tell, like, he'll just do whatever it takes to kind of, like I said before, like, stay in the league. And, he's just going to keep chucking him whenever he gets the opportunity. Now it's like players are coming up to him to give them the opportunity to make a name for themselves. And he's only been playing for like 3 games.
Is it to give
Columbus
them an
guy kind of like what?
Is it to give them an opportunity that they're coming up to him? Is that really why?
I'm just making a joke. But didn't the Columbus guy come up to him saying like, "Oh, yo, can we go?" Whatever. Like, I know
Martin. Everyone is.
I know Martin did it. Martin did it for Rempe. Delorier. Now it's like it's not like doing Rempe a favor. Now it's kind of just like become a thing.
Yeah, I don't think it's like doing him a favor. Yeah,
like coming up.
Yeah, he's like a hard-nosed kid, a physical player, a fighter. Coach, I was going to ask you. So Little Ed says, I know he's being facetious. They're like, oh, let me make a name for myself. Like, I feel like they're challenging him because they want to put an end to him, like an end to the storyline, right? They want to be the one that like takes down the behemoth. What's going on here? These pregame warm-up things, like.
I don't know. I just think that's an old school thing. I think if you watch that fighting documentary, that was like a big thing. They would say, we're going to go on this face off. I think they just want to, give him a chance. I think that's almost like an honor. I don't think they want to put him down, but I thought he got beat up against Columbus. I saw that fight. I thought he took some licks in that one. I'll let Mikey evaluate that. But my big thing is it's just another notch in Drury's belt that he's drafting kids with character. You listen to every interview that kid does. You listen to the coach talk about him, his coachability, his attitude in the locker room, his place on the team he accepts. And I just think that's just another notch in the team's repertoire of coachable players and getting guys with the right attitude in any round they're going for. That's the feeling I get out of it. I mean, Laviolette was just praising him like he comes every day, he works hard, he listens, he's doing what we tell him. And that's the most important thing as a player trying to get in the NHL, not being a superstar. So I just think that's amazing to show his character. Edstrom has the same thing when you hear his interviews and you hear the coach talking about him. So I just love it.
Yeah, I mean, so Rempe, like, he plays like 5 minutes a game, right? I mean,
and it's a hard 5 minutes.
And then
he's a hard-nosed player.
He spent 32 minutes in the penalty box so far, and that doesn't even include the fact that he was kicked out of a game,
which was a marginal call in my opinion. I don't know. That was
we'll get there. Yeah, we'll get there next. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. But so he's kicked out of a game. He's got 32 penalty minutes. But you know what it does is what I had this conversation with a friend of mine. like, oh, it's just, another fight or whatever. I'm like, listen, it's not about the fighting. Forget the fighting, because come playoff time, he might not fight. But he's a physical threat on the ice. It's a protection for the star players on the Rangers, and it makes defensemen jittery. Having him on the ice, going in on a forecheck, just throwing his body around like a wrecking ball, it makes D jittery. That's how you create turnovers, and that wears a guy down over 7 games. I mean, I hear the announcers on TV, and they're like, oh, I don't know if Rempe's going to actually play come playoff time. And I'm like, why? What? Like, I don't want this kid out of the lineup at all. I know his shine's going to wear off at some point, but he doesn't have to fight every game. I'd like to see him start rejecting some of these fights, honestly, and just go in and hit. Just go forecheck. Make them come after him because he hit somebody and, draw an instigator penalty or whatever. That's different, but he doesn't have to go out there.
I think that'll come.
It'll wear off. I think the fighting thing will wear off a little bit, and hopefully he gets a little bit more minutes. I mean, I think each game he's getting more minutes, right? I mean, he went out against Philly even after the fight. He scored the goal, so.
No, Mikey, what's his time on ice against Philly? It guaranteed is less than like 6 minutes. Every game, it's like 5 minutes or so. He spends time in the box. He doesn't play on the power play. He doesn't PK.
Well, it's more than getting ejected, is what I mean.
Yeah. But
also, at least he's getting an opportunity to get some ice time.
He'll earn his ice time with Laffy. He'll earn it. He'll get more.
I think a lot of his time is not getting there because he doesn't get power play and penalty kill time, obviously. So, it's you're not going to get the minutes in a lot of these games. The Devils game was a freaking power play nightmare for both teams. It was a lot of time
that's the one he got kicked out.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have mattered.
I mean, and don't forget, you're talking about his penalty minutes, but they're not minutes that are hurting the Rangers. I mean, it was a 5-minute major, but the other penalties he's getting aren't hurting the team as far as shorthanded. So he's not playing a bad game. And that 5-minute major, again, to me was a marginal call. But so he's not like taking these holding penalties, hooking penalties. No. The fights are all his penalties.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the fight and the 5-minute major. His fights in the 5-minute majors is like 20 minutes of his 32. And then he had a 10-minute misconduct. So that's 30. That's 20 to 30. I think that, and then a 2-minute penalty. So one 2-minute penalty.
Yeah, it's not like he's playing a bad game, and that's why he's getting the penalty minutes. So
he played 5 minutes, 16 seconds.
5 minutes, 16 seconds against Philly.
And that's what I said.
He's so noticeable in those 5 minutes.
I want to talk to Mike Kelly again, Ed. You got to send him a message.
Hard.
Goals and points per minutes played.
So what they do is goals per 60. So they calculate how many goals you have per 60 minutes, right? Because that's a game. So it'd be like if you played every second of the game, how many goals would you score in that game? Like that's how they do it. It's per 60. I don't think they do per minutes played. Mike Kelly might have that as like a special stat though. He has all the special stats. Well, he's got a goal and he plays like 8 minutes so far, so his numbers will be pretty good.
Pretty good.
So let's talk about the hit.
If I was his manager, I'd be going, come on, he's got 1 goal per every 8 minutes played. He's got to get a contract.
Exactly. So let's talk about this hit on Nathan Bastian. So Bastian's got the puck. He's kind of a little bit of speed on the boards. He's got someone on his back. His head's a little down. He's crouched over. Rempe just comes in and lays him out. Shoulder makes contact with the head. Bastian goes down, blood everywhere. Rempe gets a major and a match penalty. He's kicked out of the game. Coach, you said something about the hit earlier. So what do you think? I mean, do you think that was the right call? And let's keep in mind, too, before I toss it to you, that the NHL reviewed the play and there was no hearing for Rempe after the play, after the game. No suspension, no fine. So let's keep that in mind as well. But what are your thoughts on that hit?
I mean, I believe you sent the rule where it's any head contact at all. Laviolette, I thought, said it best in his post game where he said, look, the guy just went in. He had his arms hanging down. I mean, what else can he do? He's 6'7". What do you have to? I guess he's got to turn and hit him with his butt. I don't know. That's the only other answer. He can't lean into the play. He's going to have to turn around, kind of go sideways and hip check him kind of along the wall to avoid that. He's going to have to learn how to do that, I guess, if they're going to call that. They probably didn't suspend him because there was no intent to throw a hit up at his head because of that situation of his height. So I guess the 5-minute major was warranted. You can't argue it.
I don't
It's
think it needs
it's
to
hard.
be. I don't think it needs to be a DQ unless that's the rule where it is automatic. But it was kind of like a freak play where Bastian was like on his way down, kind of like leaning
I
very
agree.
far down. So
And if you see the hit, he actually like held his arm hanging and hit it.
Yeah.
He didn't like have his arm like this or his
No
shoulder.
chicken
He had his
wing.
arm. Yeah, he had his arm hanging down. He was trying to like get down lower. So he's gonna have to learn how to go in with the hip, I guess.
Well,
I don't
here's
like how
the
they
thing. Go ahead, Mike.
They call it a major just so they can review it and then decide to kick him out. If you were going to do that, then just do it from the start.
Well, they do that a lot now. It's a strategy of the refs so they can get the right call because the league doesn't let them review anything unless it's a major or a double minor.
Yeah, I don't mind that so much. I mean, I think that's the right thing to do because in the heat of the moment to call it what you see is very fast at that level. Forget it. You can't even imagine that unless you're standing on the ice with these guys. So I think that's a good move that they do that to see it on film a couple of times. And they have corrected it.
They want to know.
Yeah, the one game with the Rangers, they took the 5-minute major off the board. Remember? I might have been Lindgren. I forget who it was. And they made it a 2-minute penalty. It was earlier in the season. So I'm not against that. I'm not opposed to that.
I like it because I agree with Coach because it allows them to like you said, it's fast, but they don't really know what kind of intent Rempe had as it's happening. When you look at the video, then the ref can make a judgment call, and they judge that, there obviously was some intent there. The league didn't agree, but the refs judged that, so they had the opportunity to review it, and I think it's the right move. So here's the rule: Rule 48, illegal check to the head, and I like this kind of stuff. Obviously, as a lawyer, very factorial in nature that we're going to look at here. So it's illegal to make any contact where the main point of contact is with the head. It's illegal. Now, if the head contact was avoidable, that's what the rule says. So what does that mean? Well, the league says, there's circumstances to evaluate to determine if the opponent's head contact was avoidable. One, whether the player attempted to hit squarely through the opponent's body and the head was not picked as a result of poor timing, angle, or approach, or unnecessary extension of the body upward or outward. To me, Rempe's just a big guy. He didn't extend his body out. He's 6'7". He came in, like you said, with his shoulder tucked. I thought after reading that maybe his poor angle and timing maybe he needs to work on that because he's so big, that he, like you said, Coach, he's got to lead with his hip or something. Maybe there's some adjustment he needs to make, but no extension of his body. Whether the opponent put himself in a vulnerable position by assuming a posture that made head contact and otherwise full body check unavoidable. I think it's very clear.
Right there.
I think that's what Bastian did. He crouched low, and it made the shoulder connection with his head evident, right? And then the third one, whether the opponent materially changed the position of his body or head immediately prior or simultaneously with the hit. Not really in play in this one because Bastian was low for a while. But I think Bastian was low. Now, here are the choices for Rempe. Hit him or don't hit him, right? This is a fast game. This is a split second. This is a fourth liner, a young kid establishing himself in the league. He wants his presence to be known. He's got this guy lined up, and you want him to decide not to hit this guy? If anything, there is an onus as a hockey player. You have an onus on yourself to play protective of yourself and your head. You guys always talk about this, right? We talk about this with Lindgren. Lindgren gets banged up. He's out. His shoulder hurts. He's out for a game here and there. He always comes back, but he gets rocked around. And we say he puts himself in those positions, right? It's the same idea. So I think there's a little bit of that, but I do think Rempe's going to have to adjust. Little Ed, 6'7". How many guys in the league, if Rempe stands next to them, is his shoulder going to line up with their head?
Yeah, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. One of my best buds from college, Bear, he had that issue and skating around and hitting kids literally half his height in college, and always getting penalties. And it's just unavoidable. It's hard. It's interesting because like you look at a player like Chara, he wasn't the most physical player necessarily, like laying guys out or like throwing big hits, I guess. But he always just used his size to his advantage and just angled players. I know playing defense is a lot different than having to forecheck and play forward, but he's just got to be a little bit more careful. I mean, he's got to just pump the brakes every once in a while when he sees he's got to recognize when players are in that vulnerable position. I mean, some players have to get the game speed, catch up to the game speed in other ways. He's got to catch up to the game speed and kind of realize and kind of hold up as best he can, when something like that happens. I mean, I'm not a tall guy, so it's hard for me to speak on the matter, I guess.
Well, when it first happened, I tweeted out, definitely a match penalty. Rempe will have to learn how to avoid this and remain physical due to his size. And this is why I hate people tweeting right when things happen, and I'm trying to do it more, right? But I hate it because after that tweet, I watched a replay, I looked at the rule, and then I kind of was like, I don't know, it was a match, but you know what I mean? So my opinion changed a little bit. Call it a flop, cousin and a flop, if you will. But
to me,
initially, it looked like a match initially.
To me, Trouba's hit on him was worse than Rempe's.
That was a nasty hit.
Oh my God, he strove at him. He dropped his shoulder. He threw his whole body at him. To me, that's more of a dangerous
No head
hit.
contact. No head contact.
I know, but to the naked eye, it looked more vicious than Rempe's hit.
Yeah,
Rempe didn't lunge.
Trouba.
He didn't do anything. He just went straight into him. Went through
that
him.
hit.
Trouba freaking. That's poor
the
guy.
hit of the year. Oh man,
The Rangers
kid
were
has
so
to be
physical in that game.
He has to be in some pain after that game. He had to take an ice bath for sure.
Yeah. So before we get off Rempe, let's turn it over to Mikey. A little Mikey's fight review. You got a lot of options here, Mikey.
So I definitely want to touch base on all three fights. We covered Rempe's fight against the Islanders in the Stadium Series. So the fight against Delorier in the Flyers, right? Everyone's calling it the fight of the year. I think it was like 90 seconds of punches.
What a fight!
If you actually look at that fight, I'm definitely giving it to Rempe all the way. Delorier missed a lot of his punches. They didn't connect at all because Rempe's length and size, he just couldn't reach him. So granted, he did catch him a couple of times, but a lot of his, I would say 50% of Delorier's punches did not connect. So Rempe gets a W in that one for me. His fight against Olivier the night before, that's definitely a big L. Olivier just grabbed him perfectly. He knew where to grab him, and Rempe just could not get a punch out. He caught him really nice with an uppercut. He got hurt early and just couldn't recover. One thing I will say, though, that I did love against the Delorier fight, when he took his gloves off and you saw his knuckles all, red and bloody from all the other fights that he had, that just turns me on. It really does.
I said it in the group chat.
The interview also, man, that was, he's a warrior. I can't even imagine punching a helmet as hard as you can,
multiple games in a row. And
the visor, crazy.
The famous scenes from what's his name? Who was on the Rangers? Joey Kosar. They showed his fists were all scar tissue, and you see these guys. Joey Dolls is like, he must have broke his hand. He had ice in the penalty. I said, no, they do that every time they fight because immediately, their hands are freaking. Like I said, I banged my elbow once, it swells up. You're hitting a guy in the helmet 4 or 5 times. If you hit him in the jaw as a boxer, they ice their hands with gloves on. So bare knuckled, hitting a helmet, hitting a shoulder pad, hitting a jaw, hitting the side of a head. forget it. It's
Yeah.
like in 30 seconds they're just chucking, man. And these aren't fights where they're just holding. He's throwing hits. He's throwing bombs.
And they're
I
not
will
allowed
say-
to foil up.
I will say too, Delorier with a very dirty play at the end of that fight took out his legs. I don't know if you guys caught that, but that was extremely dirty. He could have got hurt, and I'm surprised that I don't know if the league could even come down and say anything about it or punish him in some way, because that's not what you do at all.
That's a dangerous play, especially if he has no
Yeah.
helmet on from the fight. Bangs his head on the ice. That should be like a hair pulling type of penalty.
Right.
In
Yeah,
my
well,
opinion.
the refs weren't going to break that up, and Delorier wanted out at that point.
Yeah, he's done.
Yeah, but I agree. That was dirty. I caught that on the replay. I didn't see it live. It looked like he took him down. And then when I watched the replay, I'm like, no, he kind of pulled his hamstring. Like he pulled his leg towards him and then flopped him, So I don't like that. But look, the kid's got a lot of energy. I can't remember the last time the Rangers called somebody up and they had this kind of an impact without being a scorer. Just the energy, the impact. If you guys don't think as fans that plays a part in this 10-game winning streak, you're out of your mind, right? I mean, it sets the tone for the game. The Rangers super physical against New Jersey, even with Rempe getting thrown out. Just a dominating physical performance. I thought they ran over New Jersey pretty much. Even Zibanejad, I think I texted it. He had a play at the blue line with Luke Hughes, and he just bullied him out of the zone. And the puck goes up the ice. Just everyone was super physical in that game, and it feeds throughout the room, right, Coach? Like when somebody, I don't know if you have a
100%.
guy like this in your team, but when you got a guy who throws a couple big hits, the rest of the team's like, I want to throw a hit,
We don't get it enough. I push for it, but we don't get it enough.
I was gonna say, unfortunately, I think that was our issue in the championship game. The other team was very physical, and we don't really deal well with that. We have a lot more skilled players, let's say.
All
But
right, so you get a
to your-
couple
to
Rempes,
your-
and you guys will win the championship.
To your
If
point,
there's any Rempes out there in high school that looking for a club hockey team to play and develop on, Stony Brook.
I still got
let's
3
go.
years of eligibility, I think.
Yeah.
But to your point before, cuz they shut Hughes down that game. He had to be a little nervous about cutting through the middle with Trouba throwing that hit, and it means a lot. It gets into players' head.
Yeah.
They got to be nervous about it. It's a tough situation to be in, and it happens quick. So it's going to turn them down. If it takes them down a half a step, that's big at that level.
Well, just like playing D, when I went to juniors, they moved me to defense, and I didn't realize that, everyone at that point was talking about D is like, you put all the people who aren't like the best skaters on D, whatever. Sometimes you get a good skater, whatever. But it was viewed differently than I guess center, right? So they moved me to D, and the first time the puck gets dumped into a corner and I'm going back to get it, and I'm hearing my teammate, man on. I was like, holy, I just got the puck and just whipped it around the boards. I was like, I want the puck. That is real.
Yeah.
That's a real. Imagine that in the NHL with Matt Rempe.
We always
Man
say
on,
the
It's
two.
73. It's 73.
It's
you don't think
73.
those guys are just whipping the puck, getting it and just
forget it.
throwing it.
Forget it.
Very few
I've
guys
always
are gonna have
said
the poise to control themselves there.
the two hardest plays in hockey, obviously, other than playing goalie, the two hardest plays in hockey is the defenseman going back for the puck on a dump in and the winger breaking the puck out on the wall. Those are the two hardest plays in hockey, in my opinion. And that's two things that Coach Ed and I definitely focus on in our practices. And if there's any hockey players out there, if you're looking for a skill to work on, those are definitely two things you can work on.
No, for
Getting
sure,
back
and
to Rempe, before we get off of Rempe, I think I was talking about it a few weeks ago when we were
Whole
talking
episode
trades.
is not the-
Well, it's because what I'm saying is we were talking about who do they need to get, who do they need. And I said, we got to have guys down in the AHL that really are hungry and want to come up, give them a chance. And if anything, this puts a little fuel in Drury's pocket where he doesn't have to make a move. If they got guys that are jumping and they really want to be up here, this kid's not going to stop. He wants to be in the playoffs. It's his chance. I don't think he's going to stop unless he gets hurt, God forbid, or something like that. And I think he's going to fill in a good fourth line role for playoff physicality.
And let's not forget Adam Edstrom either, who
Yeah,
is also
definitely.
6'7".
He's playing
filling in
great too.
on that line. He's physical and not Rempe level, but he's physical and he's doing well. He scored a goal against Columbus last night. So I mean,
I was watching the highlights. Let's do a little banter preview. Sam Rosen goes, "It's in the two Giants."
oh god.
Man.
All right, so let's move off
Giants.
Rempe and let's talk about Igor Shesterkin. So Igor in February, 6-0-0, 951 save percentage, 1.84 goals against average, and a shutout. Could have been 3 or 4 shutouts if not for like a random goal here and there in each of those games. We might as well just call that the Igor shutout when he gives up one
Expected
goal.
shutout.
I like that.
What's that?
Expected shutouts.
Yeah, it's an Igor shutout. If it's really like 5-1 with like a goal with 4 minutes left, it's an Igor shutout. But Mike Kelly even took notice. He tweeted this out. His splits in January and February, coach, goals saved above expected, right? So they look at high danger chances, what goals should go in. In January, he was minus 7.9, which means he let in 8 goals that he should have saved. That's pretty much what it means. Which was ranked 75th out of 75 eligible goalies. And in February, he saved 10.9 goals above expected, which was first in the NHL. So I think he's back. What do you think, Coach?
100%. I mean, those first 2 games of this streak, I noticed he was more confident handling the puck. You could tell he was focused on when he was making a save and they got a face off. He's just on. I mean, does it have any kind of thing? Valaket was on vacation and he came back. Maybe the pressure of Valley analyzing it, you know.
So
but he is definitely clearly focused a lot more.
Is he the number 1 goalie again?
In these 10 games. Oh, on the Rangers? Yeah, he's back. Yeah, he's back.
So the
Oh,
fans
the
can stop
Rangers?
if Quick is the number 1 goalie nonsense, right? Like
Whatever they did, whatever little trick Benoit showed him, whatever he focused on mentally, he's back to that level for sure.
it definitely was Benoit, right, Little Ed? I mean, he took the 3 games off. He went to the All-Star game, and then he was like out for 3 games. Everyone's like, "Oh, Quick's the number 1," and they're like, "Oh, Benny's working with him." All of a sudden, he comes back, and like, who is this goalie? Like, where has he been? Jeez.
What do you say to us at the Hall of Fame? The cream always rises to the top.
Yeah.
So goalies, I can't even imagine playing. I mean, I played a roller hockey game somewhat recently. I can't imagine playing a full 82 or whatever, starting 50-something games in the NHL and having to stay focused for all of them. We have a hard time keeping our goalies focused for a 20-game college hockey season. So, it's got to be a mental thing. He took some time off, and as silly as it sounds, I think the All-Star game ended up being a good confidence booster for him. He had a lot of fun. He won the million or partial of the $1 million or whatever, and he did good in the skills competition, breakaways and stuff. So I think he got a chance to show off a little bit and got some confidence back in that aspect. So I'd say he's fully back for sure.
Yeah. Red hot Igor Shesterkin. And we should mention, Mikey was kind enough to point this out, but we should mention that Matt Rempe got a chance. He got a chance because Blake Wheeler went down with a season-ending injury. That's the only reason Rempe's even in the lineup. So we just want to shout out to Wheeler, a veteran guy, 38 years old. Tough injury, seeing that, and I hope he can get back and if it's not with the Rangers, with someone else, and continue his career next year. They didn't announce the injury; it's just a lower body, but he is out for the season. So it's nice to have guys that can come up and fill in when that happens. I mean, injuries happen, right? Rangers have already lost 2 top 9 players to season-ending injuries. Hedel and Wheeler. So it's tough. You need a lot of luck to win the cup, and injury luck is one of those things you need. So hopefully they stay injury free, knock on wood, And if they do happen, hopefully these kids come up and take the reins. But anything on Wheeler before I move on? Don't feel compelled.
I mean, it's
just
just any interview of a player, any of the players on the team in Laviolette was saying what a presence he was in the locker room. They're going to miss it. Aside from his stats not being great, I thought he was pushing on in the last games before he got hurt, and about the last 5-6 games. I was a fan of his all year. He wasn't putting up the points, but I saw the effort. And like you said, unfortunately, he's out, but it gave a chance to somebody, and that somebody is doing what he's supposed to do.
it's tough. Little Ed Wheeler, one game before the Stadium Series, gets hurt, so he didn't get to play in the Stadium Series.
Yeah,
But
that's what me and Coach. That's what we were
saw-
saying at the tailgate, right? It's just it's a shame. He might not get another opportunity to play in one of those games. I don't even know if he ever had. Or he probably did with the Jets, right, in the Heritage Classic or something.
I would think so.
But yeah, I mean, that was probably his last chance to play in another one. So definitely feeling for him. And yeah, I mean, obviously wasn't a huge fan favorite, but as coaches, we can appreciate the effort and the intangibles and things of that nature. So I definitely feel for the guy, and I'm sure he was very excited to play in New York. And to go out like that, it must be tough. And hopefully he can make somewhat of a comeback, whether it's with the Rangers or elsewhere.
Well, I mean, just forget that as coaches, right? As humans, I mean, we're all human. Like this is a guy who's a veteran player. He's 38 years old. I mean, you may not like Wheeler. You may think he's slow. You may think he's a bad fit. A lot of fans are on him and didn't, get him out of the lineup. Doesn't matter. I mean, he's 38-year-old guy who went down with a season-ending injury. His career's in jeopardy. I mean, you should feel for him no matter what. It's tough. It's a tough spot, but hopefully he can recover and latch on with another team. All right, Lafreniere and Kako. Let's talk about them real quick in tandem. Kako had a 5-game point streak in the midst of this 10-game winning streak for the Rangers. He's been coming on, playing a lot better, attached to Brodzinski and Cooley in that line, a really effective third line. So with Kako, I want to ask you guys, how have you seen his game develop in the last 10 games? And do you think all this buzz about getting a third line center is necessary, or are we on the Brodzinski train? And then Laffy, I mean, is this guy becoming elite? Like, he's got 15 even strength goals this year, which is third on the Rangers behind Kreider and Panarin. But I saw on Twitter, he has as many even strength goals this year or more than like Connor McDavid. Forget the rest of the list. There was a list of like 15 guys, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel the points coming on. Like, I feel like Laffy is just like on the verge of just bursting out with like 3-4 point nights every night. So I wanted you to talk about both in tandem. Little Ed, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take Laffy first. He's just been knocking on that door for a while. I mean, over the years, I mean, obviously he wasn't putting up the points. He's not getting the power play time, but he was always getting the scoring opportunities. His analytics were always good. I mean, he always passed the eye test in our opinion. And now he's finally getting rewarded playing with Panarin and Trocheck. I mean, he's a very competitive player. He brings it every single game, and I think that shows on why he's so successful 5-on-5. Whereas like his style of play is exactly what 5-on-5 is all about. I mean, hey, should he get some more power play time? Sure, absolutely. But I think he definitely thrives in the 5-on-5 competitive, cycling down low, forechecking, getting the quick shots in the slot type of game. I mean, you even remember back in the junior highlights, it was a lot of playmaking, assists and goals down low and stuff, not a lot of end-to-end rushes and things like that. So I love his game. It's a 200-foot game. It's a forechecking game, and it's great.
Little Ed, before you move to Kako, let me give you the rest of the list. I found it. 15 even strength goals equal to or more than the even strength goal totals of Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Jack Hughes, Jason Robertson, Tim Stützle, Sam Reinhart, Matt Barzal, and Steven Stamkos. That's a pretty damn good. That's a pretty damn good list. And again, it goes to show you Without power play time, you cannot score 70, 80, 90, 100 points in this league. It's just not going to happen. So you got to look at Laffy's number in even strength context with these other players. You can't look at it raw point totals and compare him to Stamkos or Robertson or Hughes. You just can't do it. Anyway, go ahead. Kako.
No, that was pretty much it on Laffy. Kako, he's obviously turned it around. I think he's finding his role with the team, or I guess in the NHL in general, and he's finding ways to succeed with his skill set. And we're seeing a lot of that below the goal line play, the quick stops and starts by the hash marks along the wall, things of that nature. And I think we were talking about it in the car on the way to the tailgate or on the way home, whatever. He's kind of reminds me of like a mini Yager. I mean, you're not going to compare him nearly to Yager, so no one jumped down my throat. But like that style of play, like using his body as a frame and protecting the puck and quick stops and starts. I love the way he plays also. So hope they stay patient with both those players. Obviously, Laffy's here to stay, I think, but hopefully they stay patient with Kako too, because he's going to be right behind him.
Coach?
I mean, I agree with Eddie, what he's saying. Kako, I think, has found his spot on that line. I think, again, that's the hardest thing as coaches is trying to get guys what you think is going to be the right mix on the team, the right line, putting a player in the right position, playing with another personality. That's so difficult to do. It's always easy for us to say, I want this guy here, I want this guy there. But they have a heartbeat of the team, and they, a better feel. As far as Laffy, I mean, he's the play that I'm going to say. I watched that Devils game, and I think I texted. I don't know if I texted everybody, but his 200-foot game development, I'm not going to say he's better than Jack Hughes, but it clearly showed in that game that he was better than Jack Hughes in that game. The play he made where he angled that player in the defensive zone, took the puck away, drove down ice as the trailer, and put the puck in the net, or was involved in the goal, was lights out, showing why he is that good in 5-on-5. And, I know the argument was a couple of years ago, and I kept arguing, let him develop as a 200-foot player and be patient. And I think it's coming out now where it starts in the defensive zone and it leads to chances, and that's what it's about.
And that's why you're the Empire Collegiate Hockey Conference Coach of the Year.
Maybe so. I don't know
And
about
Coach,
that.
Coach, and to your point, for the fans out there who aren't eye test and need stats to support things, you can look at Lafreniere's takeaway giveaway ratio as evidence of his back checking abilities and the importance of his defensive game. Kako too. Kako saves goals every game in front of the net, back checking every single game. So Laffy though, 37 takeaways, 20 giveaways on the season. It's almost 2-1 taking the puck away versus turning it over. So that's goes to what you're saying.
That's a big part of the game. And again, when you see the speed of the game at that level, those decisions have to be made in split seconds. And I always say that's what separates guys with skill in the NHL staying and not staying, because that is very difficult. It looks easy because they're all doing it, but that's not an easy situation. And, he's making decisions on offense in tight areas that are very quick and very, very, what do you call it? He's doing it on intuition. He's just doing it because he knows where guys are and what should be going on. That's hard.
Yeah.
So he's heading towards that elite status, in my opinion.
For sure. All right. Well, Rangers don't play till Wednesday, so we'll have to wait and see if Matt Rempe fights Olivier again, tries to get a rematch, Mikey. But looking forward to that. Looking forward to that possibility. All right, no coach's corner this week, and we're going to skip the broadcast banter. I read something on Twitter that the Rangers approached Sam Rosen about whether he's considering retiring, and he asked his family what they think, and apparently he's staying, and he was motivated by Vince Scully, is the rumor. So we, in honor of Sam, let's just skip the banter this week. There's too many games to cover to even have any kind of what's the word? Efficient banter here. So we'll start fresh next week on the banter. Let's jump over to our awards, our stars of the week. All right, let's go to the offensive player of the week. Let's start with Little Ed. I hope you got some emojis on that board.
Yeah, that's what I was working on. I'm going with Laffy Taffy to start. I mean, we just talked all about him. He's just been buzzing. He's been creating a lot of offense, scoring some goals, putting up some points, and he's just lighting it up.
Laffy Taffy from Little Ed. Coach, what about you?
I mean,
Laffy?
clearly in these games, he's been very noticeable with the puck and got a few goals, got a few assists. I mean, Panarin is, these guys, we always say that Panarin's Panarin, but Laffy's been noticeable and a big part of it. So I'm going with him.
2 goals against the Devils.
I went with the bread man. I hear you guys, but I mean, he had 3 3-point games in the stretch. Like, I don't know how you don't pick Panarin, but yeah, Laffy is he's been hot for sure. So hopefully those points keep racking up.
I second that, cousin Ed, the bread man, staying on my board.
Yeah, he's still there for me. All right, defensive player of the week. Little Ed, defensive coach of the year for you. So who you got?
I wish. The boys did play that way though, shutting down that kid in that game, like I said before. But anyway, I'm going with Foxy. He probably could have won offensive player this week also, but it's hard to argue his contribution to the team, whether it's offensive or defense. So going with the Fox man this time.
Yeah, I was a little surprised.
4 assists against the Canadiens.
I was a little surprised though, Little Ed. In the 7 games, because I did the stats for 7 games for Fox, for everybody from the Calgary game forward. Fox was +8 in those 7 games, and he had 13 blocks, which is a lot for him. He usually gets maybe a block, 2 blocks, but he had a couple games with 3 or 4 block shots. So kudos to Foxy for sure.
Yeah, he's playing. I said it last episode, maybe the one before that. He's definitely getting in the corners more too. Just he's playing a much more defensive game on top of his.
You guys are gonna hate me, but I went with
Igor.
I mean, you don't like the goalie
And Mikey. I do. I picked before. I think I picked Quick one time.
You gotta give it to Igor, man. He's back.
What the hell? I mean, there was a stat they put up in the Philly game. It was like Shesterkin has saved 96 of his last 98 shots. I was like, what? Like, that's insane. That's like a 97 or 98%. That's insane, dude.
Speaking of 98 shots, real quick, while we were away, Sacred Heart played against, who was it, Farmingdale, Dad? No, it was
Hofstra.
Hofstra. Sacred Heart against Hofstra, 4 quadruple overtime. The Hofstra goalie saved 98 shots or something like that.
That's just
and lost
98 in one game.
In one game. I mean, the people that track the shots are probably a little off, maybe by like 15 shots, but still.
Coach, what do you got for defensive player?
You guys are going to be pissed off because both of your choices, Fox and Igor, obviously very good choices, but I'm going with my boy.
Nice. Bringing him back.
You're turning it. This is turning into a Little Ed Trouba situation with you.
I mean, look at his stats: 7 games, 2 assists, +3. I'm watching him without the puck, and I saw one highlight on the Columbus game because obviously we didn't watch it. It looked like he was out of position. I didn't see the full play when they got a goal, but just without the puck, I just think he plays real well. And that's difficult against some of these teams.
He played a great game against Philly. There's a couple times I noticed on the breakout passes where he dodged a check, stayed poised, made a pass. Like a couple times I was like, all right, good, keep that up. Like that's what we need. You got to turn the puck up the ice fast, and he's got the skill to I mean, look, the kid can play any kind of game. I mean, he can play a turn the puck up the ice game. He can play a physical game. He can play block shot game. So I can see why you love him, Coach. But
I mean, I don't know if
Yeah.
you guys saw. I
Seems like
sent Laviolette's presser. I think it was a pre-practice. He talked about Schneids and Rempe, and it's exactly what he said. He goes, I like when he gets involved in offense. I just love the way he plays. He's not that one that's going to pop out at you during the game, but if you watch him behind the play without the puck, I think he plays a real strong game.
He seems
know,
like he's a
every
good
time-
locker room guy too. Seems like he's funny in all of the Rangers social media stuff.
every time I see Gaudreau on the ice with like 30 seconds left in a 1-goal game, I think of you. Every single time. I think of Coach Ed. I'm like, Coach would have him out there too, so it's probably right. All right, move to the key contributor award. Mikey Produces.
This has to be unanimous.
No
I'm
pressure.
going with Laffy. Yeah, I'm going with Laffy. He deserves some love to get some awards.
Oh,
This
My
was the
mistake.
choice that he thought would be unanimous.
yes.
Yeah.
Matt Rempe. The
Come on, he got the
Rempinator.
goal against.
Rempire
you gotta-
State of Mind. The Rempire State Building. Whatever
I
you wanna
love
call
that
it.
graphic, the Rempire State of Mind. I mean, come on, Ed, you got to make that T-shirt with the Empire State Building. That's a good one. It's a good call, Ed. Cuz,
Yeah, designer.
but come on, he gets the goal against Philly, the game winner, big game against Torts.
Game-winning
love
goal
it.
off his leg too. I love it.
Gotta love it. You gotta love it. Not a wrist shot off his body.
Yeah, it is great. Definitely awesome watching this kid. Everyone loves him too. All my friends that are fans of other teams are like texting me about him. They're like, "Oh, this kid's crazy." Like, it's like, all right. But just on that alone, he's a key contributor. All right, highlight play. We got a lot of the games to pick here. I'm gonna probably pick something that you guys didn't, because you might have a little recency bias. But we'll
Can I
start with
guess
Coach.
Can I guess what you're gonna pick?
Yes.
The Igor pass for the goal. The assist.
No.
Okay.
That was a great play. Coach, what do you got?
I have the other play that Laviolette's praising. They asked him about his new contract. The 4-on-4 goal, Johnny Brzezinski attacking off the face-off loss, tipping it to Laffy, and Laffy burying it.
I don't
Another
even know how to
reason
mark
why
this down in
Drury-
the spreadsheet. 4-on-4, Laffy, Brodzinski. Like, I don't even know.
Another reason why Drury doesn't have his hands tied at trade deadline, Johnny Brzezinski playing strong at the third line center.
Yep.
I don't know if it's the answer, but it's a
I
little
might
less
be good with
pressure on
him.
the trade. Yeah, it's a little less pressure. If Kako picks that line up and they do things, it's a lot less pressure at the trade deadline.
I'm getting closer and closer to just being okay with running it, Little Ed, what do you got?
The Trouba hit on Bastion.
Oh,
That was a
yeah, that was
nice
a
one.
nice one.
Just had him lined up the whole way. Bastion just went flying. Then he gets up to challenge him, and Trouba skating away, just laughing. It was just great.
What do you think?
I
So
see-
30 feet, 40 feet?
I went
forget
back.
it. He was-
I went back to the Stadium Series. Panarin's
I
OT
knew
winner.
that's what you're gonna do.
Yeah, that was nice.
I
Yeah,
mean-
that was nice.
We were live. It was unreal. The crowd roared. Seeing the Islanders fans leave the building upset, like that. I mean, that was perfect. All right, Mikey, what do you got?
I'm giving it to Laffy Taffy. Again, I'm giving it to his breakout goal. I think it was his second goal in the Jersey game, where he made a nice little move and just flipped the puck right over the glove side.
Oh
that
yeah, the
little
tic tac
shot.
toe in the neutral zone regroup.
Yeah.
That was a sick goal. That was an elite player goal right there.
Yep.
Yep.
That was awesome. That was definitely on my list.
Yeah. All right. Coach Ed's Copyright Doghouse Award, sponsored by Suiter's Sweet Treats.
Forgot to
Shout
update
out
the
to
graphics.
Okay,
Suitors.
boys.
Yeah, shout out to the Suitor sisters. The Suitor Swisters. Wow. For,
The Suitor Sweet Treat Sisters. Suitor Sweet Treat Sisters. Suitor Sweet Treat Sisters.
yeah, exactly. Shout out to them for coming and meeting us at the tailgate at the Stadium Series, bringing all those cookies. Again, shout out to them. Check them out at suitorsweettreat.net. Use promo code EDPOD. Get your free doghouse cookie and 10% off your order. All right. Coach Ed's got an empty doghouse. He didn't even let me ask him. It's empty. Keandre is out of the doghouse.
Keandre's been playing well. He's another guy I've been watching. I mean, is he where we want him to be? Still not putting up crazy points like we'd like as an offensive-minded defenseman, but +2 over the 7 games. I didn't see him as any kind of a liability out there. I mean, I didn't get to really watch I didn't watch the Columbus game at all, the loss, but I thought in the other games he was playing real well, playing
Wow.
with a little bit of a bite
Coach.
in his grit in his teeth. Wow.
You've had Keandre in the doghouse for 9 out of the last 10 episodes. You took him out randomly and then put him right back in one episode. 9 out of the last 10 episodes, Keandre's been in the doghouse. That's a lot of games. 10
I mean, he's
episodes
on the
for
win-
us is 30 games or so.
I mean, they're on a 10-game winning streak, 10 out of 11. I can't say he's been a liability. I'd like to see more points, but not enough to put him in the doghouse.
I think if you watch the Columbus game, you might change your mind.
Yeah. All right. Well, I didn't see it, so he's lucky.
All right, Mike. You got last week you had Keandre, Mika, and Igor in with 1 foot. So is anybody out?
Yes, Mika is out in the doghouse. I am also taking Igor out.
You
He's-
better
You're
take
leaving
him out.
Keandre.
Come on.
Unfortunately,
Keandre?
I have to leave Miller in with 1 foot, half in, half out. There was that one goal against Columbus where he just flew into the front of the net and they went on a odd man rush the other way. He skated back to try to make a play and then seemed like he kind of just gave up on the play.
He just reached,
Wait.
he just reached. He didn't keep
Yeah.
hitting. Yeah, that pissed me off. But he's been playing better. But that was a
He
bad
has.
play.
He has.
That was a really bad play for sure. All right, 1 foot in, 1 foot out for Miller. You keep doing this. Make up your mind, Jesus.
It's him. He's got to just continue to, play well.
All right. So last week I had the Zibanejad and Shesterkin in the doghouse. I'm taking Shesterkin out, but I'm leaving Zibanejad in the doghouse. I know you guys are gonna kill me. 0 5-on-5 goals since December 27th for Zibanejad. 0. 3 power play goals, 2 shorties, and an OT game-winning goal. So yeah, he's had a few goals. 6 goals in 26 games since December 27th. 0 at 5-on-5. 0 goals at 5-on-5 since Christmas.
It's not going
That's
to cut it.
That's all I got to say. So I'm leaving him in. He does other things well for sure, but until that changes, he's not getting out of the doghouse. You got to do all the things well, not just play good defense and whatever. He's got to do everything. He's our all-around guy. All right. That leaves Little Ed, who last week had Keandre in. Well, I didn't give you guys a chance to shit on me, but I don't know if you need to. Last week you had Keandre in. Is he out?
I unfortunately missed the Columbus game too because we were away for the weekend. So I am going to take him out as well because I think he has been playing a little bit better. And I saw that he's actually like top 5 in the Rangers in plus minus, which is crazy to me. But if that's the case, then maybe I'm just not seeing something right. But no, I'm still seeing like those small plays where he's a step behind, but he's definitely getting a little bit better. So I'll just take him out. But I'm with you, cuz Mika, baby. 5-on-5. We need our first line center, and I drew a picture of my Mika because he's soft as a kitten right now. The Zibanejad, so he's got to take some lessons from Laffy 5-on-5, get a little gritty, and put the puck in the back of the net. He's got to shoot. His biggest thing is he's got to shoot. He's so unselfish with Kreider for some reason. It's infuriating. 2-on-1s, I get it. You're looking past, but if it's not there, rip it. It's so frustrating. He has the skill. He has the shot. Just
He doesn't take his wrist
Dude.
shot anymore. It's either a one timer that's high and wide or a pass. That's it. There's no.
I thought he was gonna.
a wrist shot.
Yeah, I thought he was going to snap out of it after the Stadium Series, after scoring the impossible angle shot. The coach had special, and he just hasn't done it.
He got the
I don't know.
he got the nice goal against the Devils. I thought he had a great game against the Devils.
He's playing well though. Like, he's playing good
Yeah.
hockey. He just, as our first line center or whatever top line center, he has to be putting the puck in the net 5-on-5.
Agreed.
Come playoff time, it's got to happen.
Yeah, it's not an all around issue with him. He is playing well in certain facets of the game, and he's not a net negative.
He doesn't have to put up 50 goals like Austin Matthews, but since December, 2 months, no 5-on-5 goals. That's a little much.
Yeah. 2 months.
It's almost 2 months to the day. Yeah.
It's insane. Anyway.
Not great. Coach.
Can I do a little broadcast banter before we go on to trivia?
Yeah. Do a quick one.
Little shout out to Artemi Panarin, career high in goals, 33, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So now every goal he gets, Sam's going to be going a new career high in goals.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. Oh, jeez. All right, let's turn it over to Mikey P for the Rangers at 150.
And to trivia, it's time to throw it over to Mikey P with your Rangers Ed 150, the fastest 150 seconds in the National Hockey Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Rangers Ed 150. The trade deadline is quickly approaching, and it's about that time where teams are deciding if they're going to buy or sell off those assets at the deadline. Lots of teams looking for that magical hard forechecking and defensively responsible center. With not a lot available on the market, we'll see who has the best assets to part with come March 8th. No trades to speak of yet since the Lindholm deal to Vancouver, so until players start moving, we are stuck talking about the standings. On that note, out west in the Pacific Division, no change to the top four here since we last talked, with Vancouver, Vegas, Edmonton, and LA rounding it out. Vegas had a tough week last week, dropping 3 of 4 games, while the Canucks took off their 4-game win streak with an overtime win against Boston on Saturday night. LA has also turned things around since the coaching change and have now won 7 of their last 10 to keep them tied with Edmonton at 68 points. On to the Central Division, where Winnipeg appears set to make a move on first place, sitting 1 point behind the Stars with 3 games in hand on both Dallas and the third place Avalanche. Winnipeg has won their last 3, while Dallas dropped 3 of 4 last week, and Colorado has only won 2 of their last 5. Also worth noting here, Nashville is on a 5-game win streak and has played themselves into one of those wild card spots. Back east in the Atlantic Division, Boston is still holding on to first place over Florida, but if it wasn't for that crazy hot start the Bruins had, they would be plummeting down the standings right now. The Bruins have lost 7 of their last 10, while Florida and Toronto are both 8-2 through their last 10, with the Leafs riding a 7-game win streak heading into their tilt against Vegas on Tuesday night. The Ottawa Senators have also climbed up out of last place, posting a 7-2-1 record through their last 10. And with Shane Pinto back in the lineup, this team finally looks like they're able to perform at full capacity. Finally, in that Metro Division, the Rangers, Hurricanes, and Flyers are still holding on to the 1 through 3 spots, but the Devils have clawed their way up into 4th place, 1 point ahead of the Caps and 2 ahead of both the Pens and Islanders. Still lots of work that needs to be done here if we're going to see any outside of the top 3 from the Metro in the playoffs, and New Jersey has a bruiser of a schedule through March, so I'd be surprised if they're able to sneak in over some of the bigger teams in the Atlantic. As it stands, New Jersey is 7 points out of a wild card spot with 2 games in hand on Tampa, but the Pens, Isles, and Caps all have games in hand over the Devils, so unlikely we'll see them in that 4 spot for much longer. We've only got 2 games for the Blue Shirts this week. First off, we have Columbus at home on Wednesday night, and then the boys are off to the Great White North to face off against the Leafs and red-hot Austin Matthews on Saturday night. Should be a good week of hockey, so make sure you tune into the Rangers smashing Toronto on Saturday, and until next week, this has been your 150.
Mikey with the fresh lid, Boston Centennial hat. That was nice.
Looks like
gonna
he
be
got
a
a
good
nice little
game.
haircut. Looks like he got a nice little haircut too.
Yeah, and that Rangers schedule preview is sponsored by Sorrento's in Long Beach on the West End. Grab your game day meal, Italian, custom pizzas, salads, deli meats, espresso, Italian pastries, you name it. Head on over to Sorrento's and grab whatever you want for your game day meal.
Yeah, so before we do trivia, I thought it'd be a fun little thing to do at the end of these episodes to kind of look into the crystal ball right? Until you do the game previews at the end of Mikey's 150. Little crystal ball here. It's almost Mika March, right? So Zibanejad looking to get out of everyone's doghouse. March is going to be a crazy month, guys. I don't know if you've looked at this schedule. The Rangers play Toronto, Florida, St. Louis, New Jersey, Carolina, Tampa Bay, Pittsburgh, the Islanders, Winnipeg, Boston, Florida, Philly, Colorado, and Arizona. So that's going to be the test right there. They're going to need Mika. I don't know. That's like mostly playoff teams and rivals. Even if they're non-playoffs, they're.
My prediction is they go 10-1. They lose to Arizona.
Oh, geez. It's going to be tough. So hopefully Mika March is almost here and we get some 5-on-5 goals against these good teams. But all right, Mikey, hit us with the trivia.
All right. In honor of all these fights we've been seeing, I got a little fight trivia for you guys.
Oh, boy.
I like that. You made some effort here. I like it. Let's do it.
We got I'm looking for a number, all right, closest to without going over. And if you could give me the top 4 names, I'll give you an extra bonus point. How many total fights? Yes. How many total fights have the Rangers had so far this year, closest to without going over? And name me the top 4.
Top 4. So in top 4 in amount of fights, you mean?
Correct.
All right.
Top 4 players that have been in the fights.
Yes. All right. Well, I don't know. Cousin Ed's right with 15, which is just crazy.
I got Rempe, Trouba, Goudreau, Trocheck.
No, that's nope. Coach has got Trouba, Rempe, Trocheck, and Lindy. Rempe, Trouba. So no one gets the bonus point. Barclay Goodrow and Rempe are tied for 3 fights each. Jacob Trouba and Will Cooley are tied.
Wow. Oh, I
2
forgot
fights
about
each.
them.
I forgot Cooley.
Then you got Gustafson, Wheeler, VC, Trocheck, each with a fight, and Mackey with a fight.
All right. Good question. Right. Good question.
All right, Mikey.
Is that on Cousin Ed's sheet? Is that on Cousin Ed's sheet? The total number of fights?
Cousin Ed's like Sam Rosen. He studies these stats all the time. That's not fair.
He must have had some good strategy trying to remember.
He gets that NHL. He gets that NHL stat sheet.
You're not going to look up the stat. What if I'm wrong, cuz?
No, I'm right, so I don't need to look it up.
He's right, so he's not challenging it.
Listen, if the teacher gives you 100, are you going to go check the answers? You only check them if you get a B or a C or something. You go check it. Make sure make sure it wasn't a mistake. I'm not going to tell them, oh, by the way, I should have got a 96. You were wrong. Anyway, good question, Mikey. I like that you tied it into the fighting. I'm surprised Schneider doesn't have more fights, to be honest. But he hasn't been laying big hits this year like he in the past, so I guess he hasn't been challenged a lot. But
as Uncle Pat would say, he's slow and steady, wins the race.
All right. Well, congrats again to Coach Ed for winning Coach of the Year. It's amazing. I'm really happy for you and proud of you. I just want to say that again. But also, thank you to our sponsors. I'm sure they're proud to be associated with you, Coach. Old Country, Tile. We didn't mention them today. They do a great job. And Bella Italia, who we're going to fit into a segment. Coach Ed's got some ideas for fitting Bella Italia into a segment. We need Coach to do more ad reads too. I know you guys enjoy those just as much as the episode, so we'll get that going. Next week, Ed, we're going to record on Tuesday.
Yep.
So we'll be dropping Wednesday, and then the following week is the trade deadline's on a Friday. So we're going to see what the Rangers do. There might be a need to drop an earlier episode than a Monday or Tuesday. But if nothing crazy happens, it'll probably be regularly scheduled. We'll keep you guys updated.
Yeah, most likely Coach Ed and I will not be present for the week after trade deadline episode. We'll be away at Nationals like we talked about earlier. But we'll be here next week for the trade deadline preview. So looking forward to talking about that. And then
we got a pretty
we'll
good guest
take
for
it from
that
there.
too. That's for that episode.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we'll tease it now. Well, I guess it's not a tease, right? You yelled at me before. If I say it, it's not a tease. But yeah, you'll be listening to our interview with Johnny Lazarus from NHL Now, not NHL Now, NHL.com. And yeah, it's a big guest for us. And hopefully he can share some insight on the trade deadline and maybe some rumors flying around the media world. So looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. So we'll drop that on Wednesday of next week, which will be 2 days before the deadline. And yeah, we'll see you guys then. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed the 10-game winning streak. Rangers get a couple days of rest here, and hopefully they come out strong Wednesday night, and we got some good vibes continuing.
Yep, without a doubt. Let's go
Okay.
Rangers.
Love
Let's
you
go
guys.
Rangers, boys.
Go
Love you
win those
guys.
nationals. Love you guys.
Love you guys. We'll see
2
you
weeks.
soon.